Welcome! We're here at Tippmann Physical Therapy, back with Jessi Klopp. Today we're doing a special Facebook Live for men to help you understand the hormones and what you can do to help to make your marriage, your home life a little easier for your wife throughout the different times of the month.
Yeah, so we are going double live. We're going live on my page, SaunaV, and then also on Jen's page, Tippmann PT. So if you're watching live, if you could put in the comments live or give us a wave, that'd be great. And then if you end up watching on the replay, we'd love to hear that from you and just put that in the comments as well.
Yeah, so welcome back to Tippmann Physical Therapy. So my name is Dr. Jen Tippmann. For all of you men out there that haven't watched any of our Facebook Lives, I have a physical therapy clinic in Southwest Fort Wayne. So I do orthopedics, back pain, neck pain, you name it. I worked at a country club in South Florida, so whatever can go wrong with you. And then I have a specialty also in women's health and do a lot of work with pregnant mamas to help them have easier labors and in postpartum recovery. So this is one thing that we like to do is a little Facebook Live on different topics that affect the patients that I treat. So today we have Jessi Klopp with us. She is a women's health wellness coach and understands a lot about the hormones.
Yeah, so I do have quite a few male followers, and I thought it would be nice, and it was actually recommended by another follower that I do a video over just how men can help the women in their life or help them understand what they go through. So first we're going to talk about why is it important to understand women's health. So it's very important because fertility, reproduction, but also menstrual health is also a reflection of overall health. Okay, some of you may not have heard that before, but it's very important to know that by looking at this part of a woman, it actually just indicates overall health. So that's one reason why it's important.
Yes, so the way that your woman in your life feels also has a very direct correlation to the hormones in her body, and so that is why it's important for all of us to understand these things.
So just a little bit of basics, kind of 101 about what is this, and we're going to call it the moon cycle because a woman's cycle does follow the moon cycle, 28 to 31 days. We're just going to break it down really simple into two phases. Phase 1 is called the follicular phase. Phase 2 is called the luteal phase. So the whole purpose of a menstrual cycle is to shed the endometrial lining. So that's the natural process that happens every single month. So it's really important that we just start this conversation with men and allow them to ask questions and learn more so that it just becomes more of a comfortable conversation. That way it's not taboo in any way.
Yes, so you have 14 days and then another 14 days, the two different phases.
Mm-hmm. And it's also important to point out the hormonal fluctuations. So it's very natural, it's part of the cycle for a woman's hormones to fluctuate throughout the 28 days. So in the beginning of the month, the estrogen is going to be a little bit higher. Second part of the month, the progesterone is going to be a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to know that this is natural. It's part of it. It's just the fluctuating hormones.
All right.
Yeah. So Jen's going to talk a little bit about fertility and what that looks like in her marriage.
Yes. So there's lots of different ways that you can track your fertility. There's apps. There's charting. You can just put a little. What my husband does is I tell him the day that I start my period, and he puts it in his phone as like a little emoji on that day, and then he knows that 14 days after that emoji, that is when you ovulate, and so that's the time where if you're trying to conceive, you would want to try at that time, and if you're trying to avoid conceiving, you would want to plan your day a little different. So this actually really strengthens your marriage. So by having my husband understand my cycle, he's able to know like, oh, this would be a good day to like go on a family bike ride or get out of the house and do something that he can show his love in a totally different way. If we're trying to like use the hormones and then understand that this time of the month would be a good time to go do something else with your family. But it has helped us be able to show our love in a lot of different types of ways. And so when your husband understands your hormones and understands your monthly cycle, you just have to give him a heads up of when to go ahead and put the chart in his calendar, but then he can keep a better idea of what's going on. And actually, he tells me when my cycle is changing. So I'll ask him, what day is it? He's like, it's day 14. Let's, go out to dinner or go do something else with the kids. So yeah, it's interesting, and it actually makes you really trust and love your husband more at like a deeper level. So something to keep in mind if you're trying to have a romantic Valentine's Day. What day of the month is it? Well, how do you want to express your love on this day of the month, depending on like the goals for your family, depending on how big or small you'd like your family to be. But yeah, the more that you understand your own hormones and are able to use that information, the more love you can have in your family, and also be able to just live a more holistic, integrative life, because you don't have to use chemicals to control this. You can just understand it really well and then trust your body and do that. So we're all about integrative holistic medicine at Tippmann PT in all parts of your life.
Yeah, and to share a little bit of my story. So my husband doesn't track my cycle necessarily, but as I started my business and became a menstrual health educator, he's been learning right alongside with me. So he knows that when my period's coming up, I'm going to ease back on my workouts and my activities, and during my period I'm going to rest a little bit more. So he's kind of went along with that flow as well. It's become more of like a lifestyle for the both of us. So he knows when we're going to kind of chill and when activities are going to ramp up. So that's been also really helpful. And then also he's kind of taken it upon himself to help educate other men. So as he's learned what is a healthy cycle for a woman, he can talk to men that he works with or men that he just runs into at the grocery store, and letting them know, like, hey, my wife has this business. Did you know that,
Yes.
cramps aren't normal, or it shouldn't be a painful period, or PMS symptoms, you don't have to live with that. So he's become kind of a men's menstrual health educator, if you can say that. So that's been a really cool part too with our marriage, is just he's learned right alongside me the whole way through.
And if you like to cook, men, our previous Facebook Live that we did was on top foods to balance your hormones. So even thinking about the groceries that you buy for your wife and for your family, trying to eliminate the sugar and the caffeine and the empty carbs, and trying to have more proteins and greens, and sweet potatoes are a great way to balance your hormones. We talked about that last time. So thinking about what you're cooking at home and the role that you're playing in what your wife could be eating that could be balancing her hormones. So make a romantic dinner, some sweet potatoes. What else would you recommend?
Sweet potatoes,
like a lean meat, and then some leafy green vegetables, maybe like a worm soup made of bone broth,
Oh yeah, maybe a root vegetable soup would be really good.
Yeah, nice warm soup for the winter. So yeah, those are all different ways that you can help your wife.
Yeah, so I also think it's important with, being positive and having the right mindset when it comes to women's hormones, that not having a negative approach, well, you're only saying this because you're hormonal or something like that. Just really trying to understand the other person. Knowledge is power, awareness is power. So if we can open the conversation and just try to understand each other a little bit better, we can really begin to grow and connect. So I do have a gift basket here, just some ideas for a gift. Maybe it's not the best for Valentine's Day, but you would know if the woman in your life would appreciate some of these items.
Yes, this would be a good gift to give someone on day 14 when they're getting ready to start their...
Yes. So here, this book that I have, it's called The Fifth Vital Sign. So she has tons of research in here. It's a great, great book. I would really recommend that to anyone. And then here I have a hot water bowl. So I love this. You can put it on your belly during your period, or you can use it with a castor oil pack. And so I have castor oil here as well.
So you fill it up with hot water.
Yes. And then the castor oil you can get at the health food shop. Probably other stores in town have it as well, but make sure that you get it organic and cold pressed.
And what do you do with that?
So you use it in a castor oil pack. You'll get an unbleached wool or cotton, and that can actually be a whole separate video that we do. And then I did find this really cool lotion. All it has in it is organic cold pressed coconut oil and cold pressed macadamia nut oil. So 2 ingredients in that lotion. And then I do have some tea. This is raspberry leaf tea. So that would be really good. And then I also have just an assortment of some body oils and some roll-ons, like a headache roll-on. And then I do have a really cool product. It's called Echo Bella is the brand, and it's a really clean mascara.
Oh, nice.
So just kind of thinking outside the box with products with that. So
Well, thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming to Tippmann Physical Therapy and learning a little bit more about how you can help the woman in your life have more balanced hormones and what you can do to help them throughout different times of the month. Really just understanding it and being able to kind of accommodate the mood of whatever is going on. So if it's a lot of people like to rest and kind of have some quiet time when they're on their menstrual cycle, and then at the end of that you can kind of ramp it up and do some more like physical activities, such as like exercise or go in a more adventurous state.
Yeah, and a kind of a bonus tip is the book, The 5 Love Languages. So if you know,
that's such a good book.
Everyone's different, how they want to receive love and how they give love. So if you can really get to know your partner, and women, this goes for you too, to learn this about your husbands, it just makes a better relationship. So that book is really good, Gary Chapman.
Yeah.
So that's a great one. So you can learn to understand each other, and it just really builds a really good relationship. So
The 5 love languages. Well, have a wonderful Valentine's
Thanks, guys.
Day. I hope that you have a happy, healthy week with your family.
bye.
Bye.